Okay, Torah, Parshas Noach, page 16, second column, 5 lines into the column. Okay, Alter Rebbe is explaining that Mayim Rabbim, all the great problems of Parnasa and Shibud and Golus and all that, cannot extinguish the natural instinctive love that every single Jew has. And he says that's the whole union of the Mabul, was not to destroy the world. Hashem has many ways of destroying the world. It was to purify the world, and therefore they're called Mei Noach, because it's the level of Menucha and Naicha de Nafshe, and eventually La'asalavi will be the ultimate Menucha. So he says now, Vine, Shibud Parnasa, the problem, the slavery of making a living is also called Mei Noach, is also called the waters of Noach. K'may Merazal Shabocha le'Avram Avinu. That Avram Avinu, when he is given a choice of Gehenim or Shibud, he picked Shibud. Why? Because he have Shalom Neshama Love beGan Eden. Just like it's impossible to go into Gan Eden until you to go to Gehenim, like it says. Okay, K'may Kenayde Shibud. Through the level of challenges, complications, difficulties, are you able to reach higher levels? Like we learned this many times. Chassidus explains, through Nisayon, can you come to the level of Nes and flying high and miracles and so on. So he says, Shibud, the concept of Shibud of slavery. Doesn't mean that there's a secular king. And he takes taxes. He says that's not Shibud. Why? In the time of Shlomo Melech in the Beis Hamikdash, it was Hamas Oyebeyeser, the tax was 10%. Okay, in those days, now it's more than that, but okay, but the tax then was everybody had to give 10% for taxes in Shlomo Melech's time. So what does it mean, the Shibud of Golus? It means Kavon and Bizman Beis Hamikdash Hayekayam in the time of the Beis Hamikdash Hayanim Shebrach of Ashpat Suma. It had an abundance of Ashpa from Hashem. There was a wealth. Ishtachas Gafni, Ishtachas Teinasi, it was an abundance of wealth. It was flowing with milk and honey, a cloud. Not at all according to nature. As the Gemara says at the end of Ksubis, a cloud and therefore nobody had to worry about making a living. There was an abundance, it was gold in the street, so to speak. There was no issue. And what's the problem now? Everybody has the effort and the worries of making a living to occupy themselves in physical things. And that's the Mayim Rabbim, that's the concept of the Mayim Rabbim. Like he says, the Shibud Parnasa, now we have to worry about making a living that can take away from a person's calmness of mind, so to speak, to be able to learn it, to daven properly and so on. So he says, why is it called Naicha Derucha? Why is it called Menucha? Why it's the opposite? He said, because davkas with the difficulties, and yet the person does Torah mitzvahs, Misalas and the Shama. Then the neshama reaches a level greater than it was before it came down, even though it was basking in gate, because over there was only nanis miziv hashchina. Like we learned many times, Gan Eden is only a ray of the Shechina. Why? Davka, when darkness is transformed to light, it's a much greater level of light than light that comes by itself. And therefore, And therefore, when a person the whole day is dealing with making a living, Shema Nikra Cheshach is the darkness. And yet, then the person goes and davens and meditates. There's no grass down here that doesn't have a mazel up above and they hit it and they make it grow, which are mazolas, say mashpiyim chayes kolel mazeh, like it said in Zeitza Brach, mimeget for shamash, mimeget ger shirach. There are certain fruits, Rashi said, come from the sun, certain fruits come from the light of the moon, mazolas, and the mazolas get from the ayin sodim, and the sodim get from shmarei fan, the junk, the sediment of the malach. Okay, until everything gets from Malchus. He's saying even the world, so you have the mazel gets the chais from the sodim get it from the shmarei fanim, from this junk of the fanim, and they get from the higher malachim, until everybody gets from Malchus, Datzilus. But it came all the way down. Like it said, Malchus, Chamalchus, Kol Elamim, Shema'avis, Kol Elam is Miyayin Liyashmamish. And that's only in Gan Eden, Ziva Shechina Bavad, which is only Ziva or Ba'alma Bavad, is only arrayed compared to the essence of Hashem, which is Ein Tov Mamish, Hayahev Eviyah B'lishini Mamish. So he says like this, a person is a whole day working, and then he goes to daven, he starts meditating, whoa, this whole world is in Yiddish there's an expression, Ashpayin Yam. It's like you spit into the ocean, you're not going to add very much quantity to the ocean. That this whole world, compared to godliness, is like a nothing. It's an array of array of array of array of array. And therefore, this business person, now, after meditating in this nafshi, his nefesh will become awakened in a chuk of an iflah. Kadish be'esh, like a burning fire to get out of chesh chelem agashmi, only to cling to Hashem. That he reaches a lofty level. So he says, dafka by being involved in what, like the Rebbe Rashab told the Chassid, he told him, I'm jealous of you. His name was Rebbe Elia. Now the Rebbe Rashab brings it down on Yemim. He told us, I'm jealous of you. You sit in the store all day, you're in the business world. Yeah, the guy comes in, you tell him a Dvar Torah, you tell him a nice word, you know, in business. So I'm jealous of you. In my world, we're in the world of Kedusha all day. There's no... So he says, a guy that's involved in business, and then he goes davens and he realizes the whole world is nothing. Einay Movadei. See, then that elevates a person to a level that through the Choshech, he reaches a level of Mayim Ram that becomes Meinayach, it becomes a level of Menucha. He won't want not the lower Ganei, not the higher Ganei, which is only Ziva or the Belvad, which is only a ray of the Shechina. Like it says in the Gemara Tzadikim, Yeshiv and Nanim Ziva Shechina. What does this guy want? L'dovka by Yisbarach. He wants to cling to Hashem's essence. Mohose Vatz Muse. Into the essence of Hashem. Like it says in the Zohar, especially Shtabah B'guf the Malka. Shtabah B'guf the Malka means he wants to hug the king himself, the body of the king. We discussed one of the other week, we were talking about different levels of love. Saying I love you and kissing and gazing, and the ultimate is hugging, because your whole person, you're holding his back. I mean, even the lowest levels, you're not letting the person escape you. You know, it's unconditional love. This Ava is called Tshuva, which is with greater fear, that can only come through the darkness of that he's Eis Binyanim Gashmi Avliya. So he said, this is a Maila, and that's the Yerid Tzerech Aliyah. The Yerid Tzerech Aliyah means that this Yerida of going in, not only the Neshama coming into the world, a person having to go into the world to deal with world. Why does Hashem want that person, Neshama, should go all the way down and whatever it is? because Hashem wants that through this you have an aliyah that you would otherwise not have.
This Rabbi could be a level of a tzaddik also?
Yeah, but a tzaddik, generally speaking, is not involved too much in business. Because like Shlomo Melech says, Yisin min ha'cheshech. So it doesn't mean, I don't need Shlomo Melech to tell me, like we learned out, the Rebbe says in Tanya, I don't need Shlomo Melech to tell me art is better than cheshech. Every fool knows that. But he's not saying that. He's not saying Yisin ala cheshech. He's saying min ha'cheshech. When cheshech is transformed to light, that's, so therefore the Mayim Rabim, which are tirdas a parnasa, and yet the Jew goes and davens and meditates into all this, that's called Noach. It brings the Jew to a very lofty level.
Min has nothing to do with Hamin, with the S.
Hamin or eight? How do you get Hamin? And this Ava comes from Chomeidach because it comes from Bligvul. What's the Bligvul? Shadavka min ha'cheshech. Okay? That comes from the level of cheshech. Why? Because it says like this. It says at the end of Sheni and Bereshis, no, this week. V'yara l'kim es kol asher also v'nei toiv ma'id. Very good. So the Gemara says, Toiv is malachayim. Toiv ma'id is malach hamavis. The Medrash says. Okay? How could the malach hamavis, the malach hachayim is called Toiv. And Toiv ma'id is called malach hamavis. Why? That's malach hamavis. Shaydei hei pach v'achayshir davka. Which is the nefesh habamis. Because it says, the sot and malach hamavis, that's all the same. The Gemara says, Vayei taharu asot nu malach hamavis. Yuchayadun love b'chinas ava b'chol meidach davka, because only through cheshech, transforming cheshech to od, can you reach the level of bligvul. Why? Because normally, through nature, cheshech cannot become od. Cheshech is cheshech, and od is od. A square can't be a circle, and a circle can be a square. They're opposites. Right? There's no way you can make cheshech into od. The only way you can make cheshech into od is by tapping into a level higher than both, which is bligvul. It's not cheshech, it's not od, it's above both. Then you can make cheshech into od. How do you tap into that level of bligvul? That's the level of b'chol me'idacha, that you're in the world tirdas parnasa, and yet you come to this realization, Einoid Mulvadi.
That's what
That's Toiv made.
What does that have to do with the Melech HaMavid?
Toiv ma'id is because you're transforming the malach hamavis to good.
transforming the Malach
Ha'nafisha b'shor shel l'mayla mishor shel nefesh habamis.
He doesn't get it.
Shel gavaya made b'chinas nefesh u'likis. Because it says like this. Shabashar shel l'mayla mishor shel nefesh habamis. Gavaya yetzim b'chinas nefesh u'likis. Like it says, Eilam lochem shemochel l'fnei melech v'nei Yisrael, which is the nefesh u'likis. In other words, like this. Tehu is higher than tikkun. The source of the nefesh habamis comes from Tehu. Source of the nefesh u'likis comes from tikkun. Tehu is higher than tikkun. That's why it says, Eilam lochem shemochel l'fnei melech b'edem l'fnei melech v'nei Yisrael. L'fnei doesn't only mean before time, it means higher. So Tehu is higher than tikkun. But Tehu fell all the way down. So down here it's lower, but in the source, it's even higher. The nefesh habamis is greater than higher than nefesh habamis, than nefesh u'likis. That's why, by the way, Chassidus explains that Esav and Yaakov, why was Esav born first? Chayra, why did they make Esav born first? Esav was a Rosh, Yaakov was a Tzad. Why couldn't Yaakov be born first? Then he wouldn't have to steal the brachas. The whole thing. The answer is because Esav is taka higher than Yaakov. Taka higher is Teo. Yaakov is Tikkun. But Teo in the source is higher, but Teo comes all the way down here. But because Teo comes from a higher place, even when it comes down here, it's more powerful than Nefesh Ulikis. Like we learned, Melucha, which is his nasus. Now, the Rebbe explained in a different place. We learned this. It says in the pasuk, "Rav Tvur is b'kerach shor." If you want to get a lot of grain, use an axe to plow the field. Don't use a person. I mean, I don't need a pasuk telling me every yokel knows you want to plow a field. You don't use a person. Use an axe. It's stronger than a person. I need a pasuk to tell me Rav Tvur is b'kerach shor. So Chassidus explained, no, that's not what it means. The shor represents the nefesh habamis. If you want to get Rav Tvur, if you want to get a lot of grain, meaning like this, a person primarily is seichel. Artochen ladam das. Seichel immediately calls down midas. The person gets very excited, you say cool it. When you cool it, it doesn't mean take an ice cube. It means take your mind and calm yourself down. Okay? So seichel, see, midas without seichel, like an animal, doesn't have seichel. An animal is midas, instinct. Says in Psalm, why is a kelev called kelev? Man's best friend, or man's mentor, or superior is a dog, because kelev is kulei lev. It's all midas. Because there's no seichel, so the midas of an animal are very strong. Midas of a person, I want to help you, but if I'm going to hurt myself, why should I help you? I mean, seichel. But if you have no seichel, instinct, midas, so the midas are much more powerful. So in a person, there's seichel, the aven yid of nefesh ulikis. But that's based on seichel. Nefesh habamis, because it's a behema, its midas are much more powerful than the midas of nefesh ulikis. So that's what the pasuk says, that Rav Tvur, if you want to get a lot of grain, a lot of ava, yid, and all that, is b'kerach shor using nefesh habamis. And also, as the Alter Rebbe is saying, it comes from a higher level. It comes from Teo. It's more powerful. Plus, it's stronger.
So when Mashiach comes, the non-Jews will be superior?
No. Because in the source of the source, it's different.
Our source of the source is higher.
Yeah. There's a Sayyidei Yiri, there's a Slabshus and Nefesh Ulikis, but Nefesh habamis dafka. Dafka through the descent of the Nefesh Ulikis and Nefesh habamis. Lasik betir, there's a machshavas haparnos, to deal with the problems of parnos minyan migashmi, which are called mayim rabim, yechel olavi bechinas, after b'chol meidach. Can you come to the level b'chol meidach? Because it's a much more powerful thing. It comes from bligvul. Shu bligvul, shimadrega yesi gaveya, which is an infinitely greater level than the level of the neshama kaidim yiridasa beguf, which was only in Gan Eden Ziva Shechina. Now you reach a level of the essence of Hashem. How is this? Davka by breaking evil, transforming evil, which is an canal, which comes from the advantage of light over dark, from the darkness. It's a much greater level of Nefesh Ulikis. It fell down. Like it says, Vayimlach Vayamos, Vayidei Hiskafya Nasit Chis HaMesim. And therefore Hiskafya creates Chis HaMesim. Not only literally, I mean figuratively, it wakes the person up.
What's going to happen after the
What's your problem? What are you worried about? When it happens, we'll figure it out. The Rambam says that all these things we'll know when it happens. That's what he writes. When it happens, we'll know exactly what it's going to be. But what's your problem? You're going to get up and you're going to walk around and say hello to everybody, So what's?
And then?
What do you mean then?
The world is going to go as as it is right now,
Yeah.
Shefa and Rachot and everything.
Yeah, but that Chesed is going to be not the same Gashmiasik now.
You working yet? You still have to work?
Now you want Mashiach? Or maybe when Mashiach comes, his mother-in-laws will not tell you what to do. But in those days, it's going to be a whole different thing, because now the neshama is greater than the guf. But also, the guf is higher than the neshama. So therefore, now the body sustains itself in the neshama. Lots of love, you have to chesed mason, the neshama is going to sustain itself in the body. It's a whole different...
So the whole thing is going to change. There's no discapula. There's no...
Correct. Therefore, there's an expression in Chassidus that after Mashiach's coming, benkin noch the Golestek. We're going to be longing, we're going to miss the good old Goles days when we were able to accomplish things. What? Everything Hashem does is good. Yeah. Why did Hashem make Goles? Why did Hashem make Goles? Because every Geula needed Goles. Mitzrayim, before Goles Mitzrayim Matan Torah, they had to be Mikora Barzim Mitzrayim. They had to be, Perach, Avedis Perach. They had to be Goles. Why? It refined the person for Matan Torah. But that was 210 years. The Gila Mashiach is infinitely greater. So now we're 2,000 years in Golos. But this whole concept of Golos is to transform, break evil, transform evil, and the worse the evil gets, it's a greater error. Because the darker it is, because it originates in it. So when you make darker art, darker cheshach into art, it's a much greater accomplishment than if it's a little bit of cheshach. Right? When you take v'yamish cheshach, like was by Makas B'cheres, they're able to tap the cheshach. Right? And you transport that out, that's a much greater level. So the whole concept of Golus is pushing the preparation for the Gilui of Mashiach.
So after to get the meeting, you see the Gilu.
Yeah, it's going to be Gilui, that's it. Aved is over. Yeah. The pasuk, Yikulam Yeda Isi Miktanim Agdailam. The Rambam calls all these psukim. Everybody's going to know Alukos.
Why anyone want Mashiach?
Why would anybody?
It's more higher than the leader now. Why should you even want the Mashiach? That's suffer.
Because the ultimate purpose of creation is for the Gilui Mashiach. That's what we want. We want the ultimate purpose by Breishit Bar Elikim. Okay. Yeah, just take the first few psukim of Chumash to this week, yeah? The animals were created Thursday, yeah? Adam was created Friday. Why did Hashem have to create art on the first day? For whom? By the way, it's not sunlight. Sun was created on the fourth day. Put into place. Yeah? Why did Hashem need light on the first? First thing Hashem created art. For whom? What? I understand, you're making Adam, so make art. You make animals, make on Thursday, make art, and then make the animals. Why on the first day is ye art? And then there's another passage. The Spirit of Hashem hovered over the water. The Medrash said, what Ruach HaLakim? Ruach HaMashiach. The Ruach HaMashiach. Yeah? Or the Balturim says, Ruach HaLakim is a big gematria, is that Ruach HaMashiach. But the Medrash says, Ruach HaLakim, what Ruach HaLakim, L'chafes HaPnei HaMayim, is the Ruach HaMashiach. Now, what does that mean? So at the beginning of creation, when you build a house, yeah? Or you build a building, you have in your mind, what do I want from this building? And you build it accordingly. Right? First you have to know what I want, and then you can build it. Like by your shidduch, you have to know what you're looking for, and then you can find one. If you don't know what you're looking for, what do you know, it doesn't work. Okay? So Chassidus explains, it's very simple. Hashem is creating the world. Hashem says, what do I want in this world? On the first day, I want order. The purpose of creation, not that nobody then needed order. Hashem says, Yehi order. What's the purpose of creation? It should be a lokus in the world. What is the purpose of creation? The purpose of creation is a Mashiach, to bring order into the world. So that's the purpose of creation. If it's the purpose of creation, then, that's why Hashem starts at the beginning. And therefore Hashem made Golus. But the Golus is a means to come to the ultimate end, which is the Gilui of Atmas Ein Sof. What?
And at that time, the whole thing changes.
What changes?
There is no more Noach. There is no more.
Because mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
You built the house. The house is ready. You have a goal to build out.
So what are you going to do then? You're just going to start Torah?
Are you worried?
No, I'm not. I'm curious. Okay.
Yeah, I'm worried.
I hope it happens soon. Soon today.
In my humble opinion, I don't think any of you guys are going to lose sleep over that. You're worrying what's going to be when Mashiach comes. You're not going to sleep. Worried, okay. You're not going to lose any sleep, it's good.
Mashiach is coming very soon.